What's going on, everyone? Hope everyone's having a good day. Let's get straight into this market breakdown. What's going on, everybody? So today we're actually going to be doing a live market breakdown, just so anybody could ask questions or anything while I'm marking up the charts, just to give you guys a little bit of a one-on-one feel for everything. Just make sure everything's all good. All right, everything looks good. Let's get right on into it. So first things first, we're going to start off on US30 because this is the main pair that I'm always trading. We're going to start off on the daily time frame because, like I always say, the higher the time frame, the higher the probability that the confirmation that's on these time frames will have a reaction. So for example, this daily order block over here that we've been trading above the last 3 days has been respected 2 times already. So we understand that this is basically a level of support that we could be using. So let's keep that in mind, and let's also keep in mind that this order block is at a strong level, which is 34,000 right here. I'll fix that later, but 34,000 is the key area that we want to watch in here because this is our big figure number. The next area we want to keep in mind is this over here, this drop, because this is considered a breaker block. And I'm going to, just like that, we're going to make this a breaker block. Why is this a breaker? Because this is previously an order block that did not get respected. So it then broke structure, creating a breaker block and creating an area that we could potentially look for sell scenarios. And if you pull your fib from the highs and the lows of the range that we're currently in, so from this high to the low that came to the daily order block, you can see the fib levels are right here in this breaker block also. So this is double confirmation as of right now, and that's one confirmation on the higher time frame. But if you look to the right and look at where we are, this is 35,000, which is another whole number big figure level that we want to keep in mind. So the likelihood of price having a reaction in this area is going to be more likely than unlikely. So let's just keep that in mind. Overall, we're bullish, pushing off this daily order block. But we also see that we're losing momentum in these candles because we started off the week having strong bullish candles, strong momentum, little drawdown, and now we're slowly losing that momentum as we come into this consolidation in here. So now let's go on to the 4-hour time frame. Okay, now that we understand where we are in price, let's fix these, and I'm going to put a line like right here so I can put them all right over here. This is going to be 35,000. You got to keep in mind all of these strong levels because the likelihood of having reactions in these levels are going to be far more likely than following our lower time frame analysis. So we have 34,000 down here, we have 35,000 up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark up these areas of liquidity, and by liquidity I mean equal highs, equal lows, swing highs, and swing lows. Those are the areas that price is going to be reaching for on a higher time frame. Why is this a line? I need the line just like that, just like that. So there is that, and then we have these highs above here, and then we have these highs above here, and I'll have these under here for the lower time frames. So these are major swing highs, swing lows, equal highs, and equal lows. There's other small ones, but these are major ones. If you go to the daily time frame, you can see these are the major ones that we want to be keeping our eye out for. Above this consolidation, above these highs, below these swing lows, and inside of this consolidation. So now we're back on the 4-hour time frame. We need to map out what's overall going on. So the first thing I noticed is from this low to this high, we had straight bullish momentum, meaning we had little to no drawdown. So what we can expect, if we want to see price possibly trade higher, we want to anticipate a drop on US30 of some sort. It doesn't have to be a major drop. It could be a drop to 34,500, which happens to be at a 38.20%, which is another area we want to keep in mind. Just like that. This is another area we want to keep in mind because this is, again, another big figure number that is more than likely going to have a reaction at some point this week. So we need to keep these areas in mind. So we have 35,000, which is right above here, which is at the 70.50%. basically very close in numbers. It's only by 3 pips. And we have 34,000, 34,500, which is at this 38.20% continuation level, which is another confirmation to see price go higher. And then we have these fib levels down here, which is close to 34,000, which happens to be right next to this 4-hour order block right here. This last down candle for this up move that took out these highs and took out these highs, this is classified as a 4-hour bullish order block. And now that you guys know where my fibs are drawn, I'm going to take these off. So now we can anticipate when price opens, we will likely try to possibly break these lows, consolidate at this 38.20% before pushing higher to then take out these highs. And I'm going to put X's at these swing highs that have not been cleared yet, so we know that we want to eventually clear them. So this is one scenario that could possibly happen before price then tries to go higher, so we can anticipate a drop before potentially pushing higher past this consolidation, because since we know there's consolidation and there's orders here, there's more than likely going to be a struggle to push above it. And as you can see, we started consolidating as soon as we came into this consolidation. We also want to keep in mind that this 4-hour breaker block right here, this last up candle for this down move, why is this considered a breaker block? It's considered a breaker block because, like I said earlier, this candle was originally a order block. Like if you come back right here, it was originally an order block that could have been potentially used to see lower prices, but in this case it got broken through, so now it's a breaker block. Why? Because this is the block or the candle that broke structure. So now that you know that, we have this confirmation also, which happens to be at the 62 and the 70.50%. So now we have a few areas that we want to be keeping in mind. Why? Because we have more than one confirmation for these areas. We have confirmation up here, which is a breaker block with a 70.50%, also at the 35,000 level. Then we have down here, we have this 4-hour breaker block at our fib levels near a 4-hour order block, and it's in between the 34,500 and 34,000. If you come to this, my other chart, I have all my levels. You can see all of the main levels that I have marked out. And you can see down here, strong level 34,500, which is right here, is a strong level, all the way down here, very close to 34,000. So let's just keeping all those areas in mind going into this. Now we're going to go down to the 1 hour. This is more of our intraday basis, but now we understand what's overall going on the higher time frame. We can then map out what we can anticipate on the lower time frame. Okay, making sure my stream is up to date. Make sure everything's all good. But since that is what we can anticipate, hold on. Okay, making sure my stream is. Hold on, give me like 1 second. Hold on, give me like 1 second. All right, we all good. I just had to do something real quick. Somebody needed me, but nonetheless, let's get back on into it. But like I said, we anticipate what we can now expect to happen. And now in this case, what do we see at this 35,500 level on the 1 hour time frame? We have a 1 hour bullish order block. So now this just adds more confirmation to why price is more than likely going to have a reaction in this area of price. Also, so 34,500 is a strong area that we need to keep in mind, not because of this 38.20%, but because we have the 34,500 area, we have this 1 hour bullish order block, and we also have this 34,500 level. And now to even get deeper, we're going to pull our fib from that low to this high, and you can see that the 79% is also in confluence with this area also. So we just have a lot of confirmations as of right now. See why price is more than likely going to have reactions in this area, and that's all we do. And if price doesn't hold this level, we have areas down here that we are looking to also possibly target. And if you look even closer down into here inside of this consolidation, we have this 4 hour order block down here. We have that in mind. We have this daily order block that we also have in mind, but now we're on our time frame. We can see that there's also a 1 hour order block right in between the 70.50% and the 79%, and it's also right at the bottom of this breaker block, the 4 hour breaker block. So now that we have all these areas mapped out on our higher time frame, we go down to the 15-minute and we look at our previous Asian range from Friday. So if you guys don't know, I'm having a video posting this week on understanding the importance of the Asian range. And if you guys need this indicator, just go to indicators and you can look up Asian range, Asian session range, and it will be the first one that pops up. And then you will get this box that delineates the Asian session. And I like to keep in mind this session because this tends to be our daily consolidation. And by daily consolidation, Asian range tends to be the session that has the least volume. So when it has the least volume, it tends to consolidate for the majority of the day. And if we can understand where our daily consolidation is, we can map out trades that are going to play from this, basically this consolidation. And in this case, where do you think the price is trading in right now? It's still trading in that consolidation. So as of right now, we are currently in that Asian range consolidation from Friday. So we can anticipate if price doesn't want to clear these highs up here, that is more than likely going to continue to fall lower because it already broke these lows. And if it doesn't want to take these highs, it's more than likely going to continue that trend to see lower prices. But we just want to keep that in mind. Going into Sunday, we're also going to mark up the Asian range because we mark up the Asian range every single day. And that's really it. So this is my analysis right now for US30. Short term, I think the trade that is more likely to happen is a trade bounce off of 34,500. But long term, going into the week, we could possibly see lower prices, such as going down all the way to around 34,300, 34,250 going into the week, because we already know we've had an expansion all week. So to see higher prices, to see new highs, I will more than likely want to see a deeper retracement to potentially this 4 hour breaker block before trading a little bit higher. So that's what I want to see with the US30. Now we're going to move on to our next pair, which is NAS100. This is already marked up. Look at this one. All right, let's do them. NAS100 now. Let's go over this. So like everything else, we start off on the daily time frame, and you can see it's a very similar setup to what is happening on US30. You can see this daily order block is being respected and had a push off this area. So meaning this is an area of support that we want to keep in mind. We also want to keep in mind, if you look to the right, what level is this? This is at 15,000. So that's two confirmations that we have as of right now for this potential area and potential reasoning to see why price would have reactions in this area. So let's just make these perfect. We don't want to have our numbers all messed up. We need to have them where they are. So 35,000, which is the daily order block. And we also want to keep in mind this last up candle before this down move, because this is going to be a bearish daily order block also. So this is currently the main range we're trading in between these two order blocks. So if we pull our fib from this low to the high, you can see also that this order block is in confluence with this 79% of this fib from this high to this low. So if we see reactions, we could potentially see lower prices this week. Or if like US30, we would have to push past this area before seeing anything else. So now let's move on to the 4 hour time frame, and we're going to map out our areas of liquidity that we will be looking to take out. So here, these swing lows, these swing lows, these swing lows, these swing highs, these swing highs, and then these swing highs up here. These are our main areas that we will be looking to potentially target going into this week on NAS100. Very similar to US30, considering the fact that they both move based on the US economy, and they move very similar and they do very similar things. Because if you go to US30 and just switch back and forth, they're very similar. They're not the same by any means. They are not the same. They do not move identical, but they move similar. Keyword similar. So as of right now, 4 hour time frame we are on, we are currently rejecting the 62% for the second time. We came up after this expansion, after this rally from this daily order block in the 15,000 level, and now we are trading a bit higher. And considering the fact that we rejected 62% already once and we're going for it again, I feel the chance of price continuing to go higher to potentially come to this daily order block and clear this liquidity above this high is going to be more likely than unlikely. And also keeping in mind, if you look to the left of this daily order block, you see this down candle, this last down candle. What would this be? A breaker block. Why? Because this is previously an order block that, if you look at it like this, was being respected at one point. It was held above, it came lower, but you got to look at where the bodies are closing. The wicks are where people get stopped out, but you got to look at the bodies. So say, for example, I'm going to take off the symbol. Let's take off the wicks. Look at this. You can see from this daily order block, not looking at the wicks, price stayed above the low of this candle. Same thing up here with this daily order block right here. This last up candle before down candle. This candle stayed below these candles. And if you put the wicks, you can see these wicks came a little high, but that's not what matters, because the volume is inside of the bodies, not the wicks. So now that we mapped out this area also, let's keep in mind, what area and price is this? Is it a major level? It's not a major level, but it's 15,400, which is a big figure number. It's not one of my main levels I like to focus on, but at the end of the day, it is a big figure number, so we will keep that in mind. So for NAS100 right now, as of right now, I'm short-term bullish because I am anticipating prices more than likely going to push above these highs before pushing above these lows right now. So now that we understand that, let's go to the 1 hour time frame and see what we can map out also. So from here, you can see prices in this range. It's not really doing much. So now we just have to wait for price to break this range. And in my case, I think price is more than likely going to continue going higher, because if it wanted to go lower after rejecting the 62%, it more than likely would have just had a retracement of some sort before coming lower. If you pull your fib from this high to this low, you can see price is currently trading inside of this smaller fib, inside of this bigger fib. So we just have to wait, because it's in a key area right now where if it doesn't start to drop and it doesn't start to respect this 1 hour order block that we have right here, then the chance of price continuing lower is very unlikely. If we continue to break these highs and continue to stay above this, what level is this? 15,296, which is this 1 hour order block, the chance of price going higher is going to be way more likely. So now that we understand that, we also understand, let's go to the 15 minutes and look at the Asian session range from Friday. You can see, like US30, we're currently trading inside of that Asian session range. Wrong thing. We're currently trading inside of that Asian session range. So like I said on US30, right now, in this case, we did clear the highs above Asian session high. We also cleared the ones below the low. So considering where we are in price, we just have to see what happens, honestly, because the momentum is losing right now in these smaller candles. So the chance of having a small retracement, if not a larger drop, is likely. But due to the higher time frame based on the hourly and everything else, the likelihood of pushing higher is a little bit higher. So we just got to wait right now. NAS is kind of in this consolidation on the intraday time frame, so we could look at it from a macro perspective on the higher time frames. But considering going into us being day traders, we trade based on, I say, the 15 minutes to the 1 hour, and based on those time frames, we're in a consolidation and we're in a strong area in price. So we just have to wait to see what price does, because we were in key areas that we are going to have to just wait to see what price is more than likely wanting to do. Like, we guys as traders, we don't predict the market, we react to the market and we anticipate the market. We let the market come to us and then we take action. We don't try to predict the market, because we will lose money trying to do that. So that's my analysis on NAS100. Personally, I want to see a push of 15,400 before having a potential major drop to break structure. But as long as we stay under this 1 hour order block in this fib and this long term 62% in the fib, I think we're likely to come back down to 1,500. So now that we have NAS100 out the way, let's look at DXY, which is the dollar index. Like everything else, we're going to start off on the daily time frame. And as you can see, just like NAS100, US30, this is also in a consolidation also. So if you look to the left of this consolidation, this last up candle before this down move is considered a daily order block. And this is where prices right now starting to try to close under. We see we had this push higher. And if you get the 50% on your fib and look at where the 50% is on this, you can see this is where we're having a lot of reaction from. We have multiple candles. We have the wick of this candle. We have the closure above it here. we have this push down, and we also have this rejection from this candle here. So there's multiple confirmations in this area to see why price wants to continue lower. And let's take it a step further. If we pull our fib, our normal fib from that high to this low, you can see we're starting to close back up under the 79%. So that's a good sign that price is likely to come lower, because looking at it like this could have just been a liquidity grab above these previous highs. Right here, this could have been a liquidity grab, because you can see from the momentum that happened, price pushed above it and quickly shot back down, breaking these lows, and now we're starting to reject. So the likelihood that price is going to come lower is high right now. So the next area we want to keep in mind is right here. This last daily order block right here. We need to keep this area in mind also, because since we know price is more than likely trying to reach for lower prices, we have to map out the next area price is more than likely going to reach for. And in this case, this is at, what strong number is this? I would say 92,700. 92,700 is the whole number level that we will be focusing on, because this is the area that is right at this order block, and it's also a big figure number, so we're keeping that in mind. And if you also want to take this confirmation a step further, if you want to pull your fib from that low to this high, you can see that it also maps out perfectly with this daily order block to 72% also. So that's also one thing to keep in mind also. Now we're going to move on to the 4-hour time frame, and I'm going to stick to the higher time frames on this pair, because this is a pair I don't intraday trade. I just like understanding where the dollar is likely to go into the future, and understanding what prices are likely to do for the next upcoming weeks or months. So I stick to higher time frame analysis, and the lowest time frame I'll probably go on this pair is the 1-hour time frame, if I even go that low. But you guys got to look at it like this. Look at how price was traveling down, lose consolidation, started lose momentum, consolidating, had a push below these lows. As soon as it came below these lows, grabbed the liquidity and had a major push higher. You can look at these candles, mind you, this is on the 4-hour time frame. So the likelihood of big banks getting in on this move at this daily order block, for one, we're not even looking at the order block, but we're just looking at price. But this is just extra confirmation. You can see price had a push above, cleared the liquidity above here, and had a massive rally down. If price wanted to go higher, why didn't it go higher with this candle? Because you can see the massive amount of momentum here. Why? Because the big banks and institutions came, grabbed the liquidity from these highs, made everyone think it was going to go higher. Because if you look at the candle like this, who would have thought price was going to have a reversal right here? Nobody would have thought that. But if you look further, look to the left, look at potential order blocks. If you go to the daily time frame, look at potential order blocks, something like that, maybe on the weekly or something too. Looking at it like this, there's other confirmations that I keep in mind. In this case, I'm not going to be going over all of them, but look how price had a reaction from that level, came down, retraced it one more time, didn't break that high, came lower, and now we're starting to reject once again. In this case, showing by what price is doing, the likelihood of price traveling lower is going to be very high probability at this point in time. Another thing we're going to keep in mind is this order block right here, which is going to be our 4-hour order block. The last down candle before this major up move that took out all of these highs. So these are the two areas that we're going to want to keep in our mind for consideration. And that's really it for this. This is a long-term analysis. So until we get outside of this range, there's not really much we could do. I'll take it a step further. I'll go to a 15-minute time frame right now. Then look at this wick. Look at this wick. Jesus. But let's go look at our Asian range. This is yeah. Okay. This candle right here is the Asian range. So I'm not even going to do that. This is a major range that is going to be very hard to try to figure out. So I'm not even going to do that. And we're just going to keep this off of our daily and 4-hour analysis right now. So right now, I'm expecting price to continue rejecting, to possibly come lower to 92,700. And depending on what happens in this area, if we can hold this, then I will likely want to see new highs to try to clear these highs up here, these highs up here on the daily time frame. Clear these highs just like that. because these are swing highs and swing lows that have very high probability of seeing new prices. So that's it for my DXY market breakdown, market analysis. I want to see price potentially come lower to 72.92, 700 to see possible consolidation after we break these potential lows. But even if we don't break those lows, we have this 4-hour order block that we could also potentially look for trades off of. And at the end of the day, guys, we can have all of these confirmations, but if this doesn't line up with the time and price, then it doesn't matter. Because if this setup, if price comes down here at Asian session, or if price comes down here during a London session, which are sessions that I don't trade, I won't be looking to take trades. But if they come down to these specific areas in price that I've mapped out with high probability and multiple confirmations, then the likelihood of price having a reaction at that time during that session in these areas of price are going to be far more high probability than taking these trades during something else. So now we're going to move on to our last pair we're going to be marking up, which is gold. And right now, if you guys were paying attention to a previous market analysis I did maybe 2 weeks ago, I was anticipating gold to fill in this range to potentially have a drop. And as you can see, price came to the 62%, came to reject this order block, not order block, this breaker block, as you can see in here. Came right to the pip, I'm gonna take this off because the likelihood of price continuing lower is very low right now. And we're just gonna take all of these off, and we're gonna do a whole new analysis because that one's playing out, so we can go off of that. So let's mark out our high probability areas. That's not what I wanted to do. We're going to mark up this daily order block that we have created right here. We're going to mark up this daily order block that we've also created up here. Didn't mean to do that. This daily order block right here. And then we're going to pull our fib from that zone and look at what price did. From looking at it, it looks like price right here was a 38.20% rejection. And no, it was 62. But judging from the way the candles closed, I think it closed under the 38.20%, which is a strong confirmation to see lower prices. As you can see, price is falling lower. So as of right now, price looks like it's premeditated to go even lower. And right now, I will be looking for price to take out these lows short term going into Sunday and Monday. Because now that it came to these areas that I was looking for price to reject, and it did, I already know what price is likely to reach for next. These highs, these equal highs up here are very important. Triple tops is more than likely will be respected at some point. But let's go even higher to the weekly right now. Let's go to this weekly. Because this daily time frame, this order block doesn't look like it's being respected. As you can see, if you pull it over, it's trading below it, which is not what I want to see. So let's go to the higher time frame, which is the weekly. Look over. What do you see? This last down candle for this major up move that started this rally that lasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 weeks. So this is an area that is more than likely going to have a reaction of some point. I'm going to make this black. So let's keep that line in mind going on to the daily time frame. And you can see this weekly order block was respected once, had a major move. And now, if we clear these lows, we can possibly set up another potential setup that will have a reaction. And if we pull our fib from that weekly low to the high all the way up here, you can see this is where price is currently rejecting the 79%, and it rejected there. This is a major fib, so I'm not going to have it drawn right now. But that's that for the higher time frame. Now let's move on to our 4-hour time frame to also map out what is happening. So you can see price is also in this consolidation, like most of the other pairs that we are currently looking at. Price is in this consolidation, and right now we are basically just waiting for a potential move of a retracement to continue lower in prices. So if you pull your fib from that high to the low of where we are, you can see that the 38.20% is in confluence with the daily order block that we have also marked over here. So this is an area that we want to keep in mind. And not only is this a daily order block and the 38.20% continuation, if you look at this last down candle before this up move, this is also going to be a breaker block also. So now that we have an area of high probability that we can also look for potential sell scenarios off of. So once price breaks this high, because currently price is consolidating, once it breaks this high, we can possibly map out another false break scenario where price is going to push above these highs, wick into this area of confluence before possibly coming lower. So this is something I will be looking out for. And if price doesn't react in this area, the next area we could also look for is all the way up here at this daily order block, the 79% of this fib. And we also have, same thing, this breaker block here, which is also in confluence with these other areas in price. So just like that, guys, we just map out areas of high probability so that we can map out trades in these areas. We're not going to only be taking these trades randomly. We know what we're looking for, and we know when we're looking for it. So when I go into these areas in price and I see that price is trading in this area, say at 8:30 in the morning, I know there is a high probability that we're going to get a reaction from this area of price. Maybe not in my direction, but I know there is going to be volume in the market. And when there is volume, there is momentum. And when there is momentum, there's large candles. And when there's large candles, that means you're going to be able to catch moves. So let's keep it at that. The only pair I trade is US30. So I'm going to keep these analyses more of a long-term basis. So based off the 4 hour, the 1 hour, and the daily. So that's really it. For short term, I want to see prices push a little bit higher, break these highs, trade into this consolidation, this daily order block. And if we also look to the right, what area of price is this at? It's not really at a major area, honestly, so we're just gonna leave it at that. So hopefully you guys got a little understanding on what I'm looking for in US30, what I'm looking for in NAS100 coming into the week. I'm gonna go to the 1 hour so you can see everything better. What I'm expecting for US30, I'm short-term bullish, but I'm overall long-term bearish. NAS100, same thing. We have to wait to see what's happening. So, and if we're already short-term bearish on US30, the likelihood of rejecting this area is going to be high probability. So we just have to wait. DXY, long-term, I'm low-key bearish. Long-term, maybe a few weeks to a few months. I'm bullish. But short term, upcoming 1 or 2 weeks, few days, I'm going to be bearish. Gold, I'm short term bullish, long term bearish. And let's just look at our Bitcoin analysis. Why not, since we're already here? And let's see how Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin, I'm short term bearish though. As you can see from these markups I have on the weekly, we're just waiting for them to play out. I was holding sell positions from up here, but I took them out once price started to react in this area of price. But it is what it is. I will be looking to possibly get into buys at 36,000, around there, 36, 39,000 area. This is a key area that I will be looking for rejection or reaction to potentially hold Bitcoin long term. So that's really it. That's all I'm really looking for as of right now. I don't know why these are there, but yeah, hopefully this little live episode, this live market breakdown gave you guys a little insight to what I'm expecting to come of this week with US30, NAS100, DXY, and gold. And if you guys want to live trade with me every day, I'm going to be live trading every morning around 8:30 to 9 o'clock EST in the morning. And that's really it. So hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully it taught you something you didn't know, and hopefully I gave you insight to what to expect this upcoming trading week. And that's really it. Like, comment, hit this button right here, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next